everybody, Cindy the Scrapologist here. Welcome back to my channel. I want to show you today how you can make a journal cover out of just about anything that you might have around the house or in your stash. This is a variety of stuff that I collected at antique stores and thrift shops, and I want to make a cover, start using this stuff. And let me show you what I have here. This actually was from it's the cover from an old antique candy box. The box was completely thrashed, but the cover is still gorgeous. Same with this. This is a little thinner, but this was also the cover to a box of something. I don't remember what. And I think this, yeah, I found an old box full of stuff, and these were in there, and I think that the person whose mementos that was liked this particular brand of candy. So so I have three that really go nicely together. This one is of the Boston Headlight, a sea theme. And you can also get different sizes. Wouldn't this make a really cool and unique journal? This I don't know why this cracks me up, but our own collarette, this apparently had housed a collar for some kind of clergyman. His collar came in this. But this would make a really neat journal cover. And I also have this, which came from a box of Apollo chocolates. How pretty. And it has like a alligator or snake skin feel or texture to it. This is really pretty. I think I'm going to use this one today. Also, though, if you have some old books and you only have one cover, sometimes the covers fall off, either the back cover or the front cover. And you can get them really cheap. Oftentimes I'll go to old book dealers and ask them which books they have that they can't really sell because one of the covers fell off, and I'll work out a price. So if you come across one and the cover's missing, hey, finagle with the person, and because you can totally make a journal out of this too. You can also use old cigar box covers too. This is something that could be used as a journal cover. Now this one, the box is still good, so I'm using it to stash a lot of my ephemera in here. But that's another idea of something that you can use. You can use just about anything that you come across that you think is pretty, that's on some kind of sturdy backing. So I'm going to use this Apollo Distinctives Chocolates one and make a journal cover out of this. Let's move the other stuff out of the way. So obviously we need a spine and a back cover. So the first thing you want to do is measure and cut out some chipboard that is the exact same width and length as the piece that you have. And then, because this is such a smaller kind of book, I don't want a huge spine, so I think I'm just going to go with, you know what, I cut out an inch, but I think I'm just going to go with a 3/4 inch spine. Okay, so I cut that down a little bit. I didn't really measure it. I just shaved off what looked like 1/4 of an inch, because this doesn't have to be exact. It can be as wide as you want. Now, one thing you do also want is you want the back cover to be the same thickness. Oops, that's coming off. I'm going to have to glue that down. You want this to be the same thickness as Okay, let me start over. You want the back to be the same thickness as the front. So I usually take a piece of my chipboard and I just put it like this, and press down, and I can see that this is a lot thinner, so I cut 2 pieces, and now the 2 pieces are exactly the same thickness as this. So that only applies to the cover, though. You only need one thickness of spine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my double-sided tape to stick them together. You can use glue. However, I find that glue warps pretty quickly, warps your chipboard. So I like to use double-sided tape to put them together. There we go. Just put a little pressure on it just to make sure that it's on there really good. And now I have a front and a back cover, and they are exactly the same thickness. Okay, now at this point we can make our spine. It's going to end up being like this, and we can go ahead and attach it. However, I really don't want this edge to show, so I'm going to cover this back cover first. And I think because of this color here, I'm going to use craft, I think. Yes, I don't want black. So I'm going to measure this. Well, actually, I don't even need to measure. I'm going to make this easy on myself today. Just put it down like this and then cut. But you basically want to have an inch around all 4 sides. And let's put that on. Make sure we leave about an inch. And let me get my cutting mat out. There we go. Okay. One of my favorite tools for cutting is the rotary cutter. And let's make sure we have about an inch here. I can't find my clear ruler that has the metal edge. So I think I'll just mark a line. There we go. I think I needed it in my house for something. And it didn't make its way back to my studio. Okay. Oops, I have to cut this one. I didn't cut that super straight, but it really doesn't matter. There we go. And then you want to miter your corners. Now this is kind of a thick piece of chipboard, so yeah, I'm going to use this one. This is the perfect trim ruler, in case you're wondering. It's real popular in the scrapbooking world. Now I forgot which one I was using. That one? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take this mat away because it just makes everything look super dark. I can work on my wood desk here. Okay. Tape this. And I like to do the long sides first. That's how I do mine. A lot of people take them and flip them up, but I find I get a better edge when I flip it like this. Kind of do this on my table. See that folds it, and then over it goes. And then kind of crinkle in this little point here. Just fold everything over the corner. Here and here. Just fold that all in on both sides. Alright, and then we get to go like that. Okie dokie. That's how you get your nice square corner, by making sure that the corner is covered nicely. Okay, now just burnish, and I like to burnish this way, but I also like to burnish on the side here. Because that just gives it a nice crisp edge. Great. That looks really nice. Okay. So now our book is ready to be put together. So we need to attach this to the spine. So I like to use shipping envelopes. I save all my shipping envelopes when I get orders in of supplies and whatnot. I save these. Now, do not go to the post office and take these. I've seen people on Facebook say, "Oh, I just go to the post office and get mine." That's against the law. You can really get into trouble for doing that and for recommending that people do that. So you can buy this material at Staples and other office supply places. They're Tyvek envelopes, and you can certainly save ones that have been mailed to you. So that's what I do. So I'm going to cut this down. Well, first I'm going to... Well, this one's not long enough. Is it long enough over here? Nope. Let me get another piece. There we go. I think this is going to be... Ooh. That's almost perfect. Let's see. Yes. Wow, that worked out good. Okay, So cut a piece the length of your spine and make sure that you have a good, I would say at least an inch and a half, an inch and a half on each side at least. I think I have a little less than that, but that's okay because this is, yeah, that's actually quite good. But I would recommend at least an inch and a half. So let's tape that down. And just eyeball it and put it in the center. And then what I like to do is measure 1/4 of an inch from the edge. Draw a line. Do the same on the other side. If I'm going too fast, pause this until you catch up with me. Okay, I'm trying not to drag out the video too long, and I've done this a million times, so maybe I'm going too fast for you. I apologize if I am, but pause the video if you need to. Okay, then I'm going to put a piece of tape on either side. Oh wait, did I put the tape on the wrong side? Let me see. Yeah, I don't think I want it like that. I think I want it like this. Yes, I do. Okay, that's all right. You can do it this way, but I don't want, see when we put this on here, I want this gap to be on the inside of the book. So I'm just going to turn it around and do the same thing that I just did. Crease it here so I can see where the edge is. I can see the line through there. I don't actually need another line. Ran out of tape. And actually, I think that was my last roll of 3/8 inch. I've been meaning to order some, and I keep forgetting. I better get to it. Okay. That's better. See, the other point of putting it on the inside here is I don't want to have this be on the outside of the book. I want to put it on the inside. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to find my 1/4 inch line. Oh, and if you're using a box or something like that, make sure that you use the rounded edge to the right so that this is the part that was torn off the candy box, and I don't want that edge to be the front of my book. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this down, match it up to my line that I drew there, and do the same with the back cover. Excellent. Okay, so this is what we have. Well, let me take this off so it doesn't confuse everybody. Take off this tape. Okay. All right, and let's burnish this. Okay. So there, now we have the start of a little book. Okay, now, and this is nice and neat now, and it's actually neater than this one. Let me pop some glue in there. And next we need to decide what we're going to do with the spine. Oh, you know what? Yeah, glue is okay. I'm not going to use a lot because I do not want it curling my chipboard. I always put too much glue on. Okay. So what are we going to do with the spine? Well, there are a number of options. I don't want to cover too much of this up. I had thought that this doily, doesn't that look so much like this? I thought that this would kind of look pretty. I had that idea for a while. You could take a doily and put it on there like this and like this and wrap it around and have that be the spine. But it looks real pretty and everything, but I am just not ready to use this yet. I have a hard time using my supplies sometimes. The sun's going down. Let me adjust my lighting here. Hope that's a little better. Quite often I use faux leather, but I don't want that to conflict with this alligator on here. And I didn't have any fabric that matched either this deep green or this red. So I decided the easiest thing for me to do is just to use a piece of muslin, and I can paint it later. So I'm going to take that fits, but I like to wrap it around the book. It makes it a little more sturdy. So let me see about this. Ooh, and I like this because it's the end of the fabric, and it has this unfinished edge, which I like. Okay. So measure so that, again, you have to judge how much of the front of the book you want to cover. I don't want it coming out an inch. That would be all the way to here. So I'm going to go with a 1/2 inch on each side. So 1/2 inch over here and a 1/2 inch over here. And that brings me to about 2 3/4 inches. So let me cut this. Two and 3/4 brings me to about there. Okay, why am I not just using this? What is wrong with me today? Oh, what do you mean what's wrong with me today? What's wrong with me every day? Every day I have something loopy that I do. Just ask my husband. I'm definitely a blonde. Oh boy. Okay, this is the end I want. Okie dokie. 2 3/4. Okay, excellent. That's going to work very nicely. And yeah, right now I can see the Tyvek through this, and that doesn't bother me because I'm going to paint this or stain it or do something with it. I'm going to look. I think what would be really pretty is if I could find a dark green stain or paint and paint this muslin. So So I know that this is not going to show through, but you might want to just do something with this if you're using something sheer like a doily or something like that. And I'm not going to, am I? Let me see. Yeah, I think since I'm going to paint it, I am going to use glue. Where's my Fabri-Tac? Where's my Fabri-Tac? Too many glues. Okay, I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac. It's going to make this a little crunchy, but that's okay. That's sort of what I want. And you know, you can always, I think I did a video where I showed this. You can always, if you glue your fabric on and it's a little too crunchy, you can take a little bit of light sandpaper and sand it, and it makes a really nice look. So let me see. I don't have much Fabri-Tac left. Let's see if I can get this going. And let me get my glue mat. I don't like getting glue all over my desk. I can use the double-sided tape for this, oops, and quite often I do. It holds really nicely. But I want a little more texture. I want the texture that the glue is going to give this. So. Okay, and let's put this on. I think I mentioned, but just in case I didn't, that I like to leave an inch overlap on the front and the bottom. And this is why, because I go through here and I like to pull it tight and glue it down. That way you have a nice finished edge on your spine. Otherwise your chipboard and your Tyvek would be showing. There. All right. Hate when my glue does that. I'm under my desk right now, cleaning it off. I hate glue. Okay. I'm going to start a club, Glue Haters of America. You guys laugh at me because I don't like glue. But I really don't. Okay. So here's our book. Ooh, so pretty. So there it is. There's the spine. Doesn't that look nice? We could even just leave it like this. And then, of course, I need to cover the back. But now I have the start of a journal. And I can put a pretty piece of paper over this. I can also, if I wanted to, I could just cover the inside with fabric as well. That really helps to solidify it a little more. But it's ready to be decorated. And we gave a candy box from Apollo Chocolates New Life. They were from Boston, and this is 1906. I should look up and see if they're still around. Thank you, Apollo Chocolates. Okay. So I hope you try this. I hope you get out all of your one-offs. If you have any just covers hanging around and your cigar boxes, and you can just quickly make yourself a beautiful journal. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.